but how do we really profit from it? How do we get revenue from it? How do we get leads from it? How do we get sales from it? That's what I'm going to be talking about today. We're going to dive into detail on how to succeed with AI when it's come to AI based content generation, which I'm going to be talking about, AI based audio and voiceover generation with emotional voices and stuff like that. And also, I'll be talking about AI based video creation as well, text to video, and as well audio to video as well. Now, these technologies, when used in conjunction together, will get you mind blowing results. Why? Because it's going to put you in the cutting edge of the next generation of technologies. Now, I just want to quickly play this out so that you understand what I'm talking about. So, when we talk about AI, so the first part that I'm going to make here is you have to understand that it's how you use the AI, okay? How you use the AI, how do you utilize it to get results? For example, back in 2020, for example, 2003, 2004, right? In my early days, I got started around 2005, 2006, okay, in this online space. And I got started around that. There's a lot of chaos. People are not understanding what was happening because there's so many technologies coming in. And one technology, though, was really catching on, and that was Google, right? So in the early days of Google, a lot of people, just like how today we're talking about AI content generation, AI audio and voiceovers and video and all this other stuff, a lot of people were not knowing what to do with it. They were just saying, oh, it sounds cool, whatever. Then what happened is very few people figured out, hey, this is the next generation. Before you had yellow books, people you had to call to get information. Before you had to basically, use these GPS systems that are not accurate, right? Everything changed once Google came in, where you could just search and you get all the information, right? Yellow Pages went out of business, and they are still in business, but they're not making as much profit and all that. So my point is, how you use AI matters. Those of us, meaning me, I built my very first website back in 2005, and it was a sports website. And at that point, just like how we're talking about AI right now, prompt engineering, how do you use prompts to get the AI to generate things and stuff like that, same thing applied then. People wanted to design websites at that time. Nobody knew how to design websites because no platforms out there. And the few people who understood how to use and design websites, they could literally get top rankings on Google because there's no competition, right? So I actually built my first website in 2005, late 2005, and by early 2006 and into 2007, that website was getting thousands and thousands of visitors every single day and generating me revenue from Google AdSense, which is basically where I used to put ads of Google, and then people will click on it when they land on my website and make money with it. And in my prime, that was making me $300 a day, that one website, okay? And at that time, I was just 17 years old, okay? A little bit actually even younger than that, but let's just say 17 for the sake of argument, if I recall that that far back. But I've never seen that kind of money in my life, right? The reason why I'm trying to explain this to you is if a 17-year-old with no actual family background, with money or whatever, and no actual experience, I started using a computer just 3 years prior to that. I have never even touched a computer before then. And more important than that, somebody who had no money because I was a broke college kid who just went to college at that point in time, my first year. And then also I was already busy with a lot of college, homework, and all that other stuff. If I could figure it out, then anybody could, right? What was the game changer? It was timing. Okay, this is the other thing we're going to be talking about today, which is the second aspect of it is timing. Okay, timing means everything. Okay, when you start, what do you do, and when you basically get up and running, because then there's no competition and all that, right? So what I did is basically what I'm going to be showing you right now, what you can do today. Okay, what I did is I just went in and I figured out what is the basic level website I can build in the fastest possible time, because I only had 30 minutes a day, free time every single day, because I was so busy with my college and basically homework and some other activities and clubs I was part of and all that. So in 30 minutes, what can I really do quickly, right? So what I did is I quickly went in and I figured out the bare minimum I need to do to build a website. And I did that. I put up a website quickly, and I figured out the bare minimum I need to put some information there, right? The content on that website, right? Did the bare minimum, and boom, literally right out of the gate, because there was no competition, when people were searching for that information, which I was in the sports market, I was coming number one for many keywords on Google. And because of that, that changed the trajectory of my life forever. In fact, what that showed me is that if you can leverage the latest technologies with no competition, it will give you that competitive advantage. In fact, if I go a drill deeper, and I'm going to talk about that today, is I'm going to show you the tools, I'm going to show you the resources and all that kind of good stuff. But one key thing I'm going to mention here, step by step for you today, is how we can leverage latest technology. So I'm going to talk about our Human Talk application, right? If you haven't already gotten it, this is the time time to get it because it's the next generation content generation system and platform, and also basically you can write text, content, all that kind of good stuff. And also it does the emotional voices as well. Like for example, I can choose all these emotions, were excited, friendly, terrified, and all that kind of good stuff. I can do all these types of voices, which I'll get to that in just a second. And of course, you can also generate content off of a simple keyword or keywords that you type in, and it'll intelligently find out and create the content for you. It completely destroys ChatGPT and every other platform like that, because it actually intelligently gets the most up-to-date information and gets it without you having to write like a big essay on what you wanted to do, right? Very, very complicated. So it's going to set you up in the map. It's simplicity, right? What matters. Then we'll also talk about our human pal technology, where you can bring it all together, where you can create videos as well with the content that you're generating, the audios, the voiceovers you're generating, okay? Because bringing it all together will put you on the map. Now, when I get to something like, people are like, oh, okay, here we go. This is another software tool that we have to buy and all that. I'm just trying to tell you, this is the next generation. This is the next revolutionary thing. This is the future. Whether you're in it or out, it doesn't matter to me. What matters is you better understand that if you're doing the old stuff, funnels, old stuff, just publishing a bunch of stuff that other people told you, old stuff, like old way of doing affiliate marketing, old stuff, like basically still selling stuff on Amazon or whatever, you're going to be just destroyed by people who have AI on their, basically on their side, right? Basically, because AI doesn't sleep, AI doesn't eat, AI doesn't take breaks. It will just generate stuff for you pretty much all day or all night, right? That gives you an edge over your competition, unlike anything else I've ever seen in the last 15 years that I've been doing this stuff. It's a real breakthrough. I cannot stress that enough, all right? Now, let me go back into history, right? When I wanted to, when I started succeeding when I was 17, and then on and on and on, and built a business that's done well over $100 million in revenue over the last more than almost decade plus, right? Almost 15 years now. And one of the things people always ask me, what's your reason for success, right? Like, what can I do to replicate it? Because as I said, I had no money. I literally started with nothing. Like, I didn't even spend, I think, even $50 to get up and running to build my first business, right? Because I just needed a web hosting account and a domain name, literally. That's it. Everything else was literally just, I put it. And in the beginning, I used to say I got kind of lucky. Later on, I started justifying it, saying it was hard work. Later on, I started justifying, saying I was at the right place at the right time, but not really. What I really understood is when I talked to some of the mentors that I've talked over the years, a couple of them mentioned something very interesting. What they told me is I was not just in the right place at the right time, I had an edge over people. In other words, I was doing things just a little bit before everybody else were doing, and more importantly, I was doing it in the right way. So what I mean by that is, if you go back to history, we'll get to that in just a second, because you have to understand, it's very important. If you look at history, who are the most successful people in our industry, right? In the technology space? Well, Steve Jobs. What made Steve Jobs really, really successful? Well, he was one of the first people to basically get access to personal computers, personal computer technologies, and all that kind of stuff, right? In his very young age, because he was part of many of these clubs and these areas. So that gave him an edge, because everybody else did not even have access to a computer, right? At that point. Bill Gates, for example, nobody talks about it. And that was by the time he was 8 years old, he already had access to a computer, right? Which is one of these big mainframe computers. And also on top of that, he also had access to his parents, who basically allowed him to get into some, exclusive areas where he could get access to the computer. And also he set up a special deal with his school where they gave him access to their mainframe computer, where he can use it after school. In other words, Bill Gates had like about maybe hundreds and hundreds of hours of computer usage before anybody else even knew what a computer was, right? Same thing happened to me. I started doing websites before people even understood what a website was, right? What was the purpose of a website? And more importantly, how you could utilize website to get traffic and then get more lead sales and that sort of thing, right? That was the reason why I succeeded. So my point is, now let's forward back to now. I've always talked about the pioneering things of AI. One of the things was when YouTube came in, that was a big pioneering aspect of AI, right? Because YouTube shrunk videos that could be played very, very quickly. Then when YouTube came in, and then mobile phones, smartphones came in, like iPhone and all that, Android and all that, then people could just consume content on their phone, right? That made a big difference, isn't it? So the point I'm trying to make is, whenever you latch on to new technologies, you need to understand that when these technologies will allow you to get an edge over your competition. AI is that edge right now, okay? It is so new. I'm talking the OpenAI, the main guy behind OpenAI is Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI. He also had the same edge. About 30 years ago, when he was 8 years old, he had access to a computer and he became a programmer. And before programming was cool or something that a lot of people were doing, right? Gave him an edge. Same thing is applying here. We are, as we speak, in the very early innings of AI. Everybody's scrambling around to figure out how to make use of it in different businesses. There are people talking about how they're going to use it in spreadsheets, right? To speed up their accounting stuff. There are people talking about how they can use it in healthcare, in construction, in real estate, in for example, many of these other service sector businesses, hotels, hospitality, all these industries, right? Now you have to understand if you're doing agency consulting work or even trying to grow your own business, an e-commerce business, whatever it is, use this technology right now the right way because you're in the right place at the right time. The more hours you put in now on this, same way as I mentioned to you earlier, the more edge you're going to get over your competition, and it's going to literally get you results where you didn't even understand why you're getting results, because you would feel, well, the last few months, few years, I've been trying everything, I'm not getting the results I desire, but suddenly I'm getting results. What changed? Well, what changed is you're doing that one little secret that every single successful person in the world has ever done, which was they got access to something and put in those hours, right? Those hours to get that experience on a technology that's so brand new, so nascent, and they got so good at it that by the time the rest of the world got caught onto it, it was too late for the rest of the world. But for you, and them and me in that case, we all benefit because literally we're in the early stages, early innings, right, of something that is just groundbreaking, something that's futuristic, something that will really, really change. It's a revolutionary thing. I would say Google was a revolutionary thing a while back. Then before that, there was a personal computer. Then after that, after Google, it was basically the mobile phone, right? After the mobile phone, social media platforms took over, right? That was a revolutionary thing. And now we're talking about AI. I'm telling you, next few years, 5 to 7 to 8 years, a lot of these so-called gurus will move on, right? They'll move on to all these other stuff. I won't, and you won't, because it's going to give you an edge over your competition, okay? So now let's talk a little bit about what AI can do for us, okay? Because a lot of people talk about this. So first of all, let's talk about content generation aspect. Now imagine you're a person and then you are trying to create content, whether it's for your business, for your basically for a client or whoever it might be, right? Now, the secret to getting client results is they don't care if you're creating a video for them, content for them, whatever. All they care about is results, right? So in the world right now, you have to look at it. What is the highest value jobs out there? Everything related to sales, marketing, copywriting, advertising, these are the highest value sales. The closer you are to sales and revenue, meaning if you run an ad and you're making money, maybe you ran a content campaign on social media and it's generating revenue or leads for a business. That is the highest value there, right? Other things are not as high value as somebody who can bring revenue to a business, right? So when you're talking and trying to get revenue for a business, that's the first thing you're going to say. So you're not going to go and say, I'll generate AI content for you. You're going to say, I'm going to get you more leads. I'm going to get you more sales, right? That's what AI is all about. So now let's talk about the first part about what you need to do to succeed with AI. First thing, you got to master this idea of what's called a prompt, okay? An idea of what's known as a prompt, okay? Is that cool? Now, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to actually step by step show you a secret strategy on how you can utilize prompts and how you have to understand how prompts work. And then we'll go from there. And then I'm going to dive into it a little bit deeper to understand how the prompts can actually help you succeed. Okay, we're going to do step by step on both of them. So I have this trusty whiteboard right now, and I'm going to walk you through the entire step-by-step process of what we are trying to achieve with a prompt. So think of it where AI, if you're just getting started with prompts, you have this big brain. Okay, let's just put this as the brain. Okay, this is where basically what we like to call in the AI space is a large language model, or in short form, LLM. So this is where it's read every single book that's ever been written. It's written every single Wikipedia post that's ever been posted. Imagine all these things. It has this in this brain, okay? So now what your job is to retrieve from that brain the right kind of input, right? And output in this case. So you would want to give it the right kind of input. So let's say you give it the right kind of input, right? You give the right kind of input to get the right kind of output, okay? This is how you have to understand it. So in a nutshell, what happens is, let's say if you're trying to generate an article or sales copy or whatever it might be, what we have to understand, and in simpler terms here, is that the more detailed this is, the more likely you're gonna get the results that you want to get, and the more human like it will be. Okay, so in other words, there's two ways to do something, right? Let's say, for example, I want this AI to write something, right? Like let's just do some simple math here, right? So I want this AI, I'll make a note here for you. So there's two options, right? So let's just do that right here so that you can understand it. So one thing is we want, let's say, 5 diet secrets, right? For keto, right? Or for people with diabetes or whatever, right? This is one way people write it. Let's say write a 200-word article on keto diet benefits, right? Something like this. This is your generic thing, right? That's what people write it. What I want to explain to you is that is the old way of doing things, and that doesn't work that well. What you have to do is go a little bit deeper, okay? And I'll simplify this for you as we go along. We'll automate this for you to an extent and all that. The other way to do this, okay, is you're gonna do it where like it's like this. You are a fitness trainer with experience in losing weight for your clients, specializing in ketogenic diet. I want you to write me a 200-word article with a professional feel and authoritative language to show that the person reading this needs to take action quickly to lose weight. Something like this, right? This is the prompt that you would give. This will be infinitely more powerful, like this one right here, than this one, right? So now, how do we build this? That is what the AI prompts course will be all about, okay? Now, I'm going to try to simplify this. I'm going to automate this process for you and that sort of thing as we go along. But the goal of this training specifically is to ensure that you know exactly what you need to type here to give it exactly what it wants. And this works across different models. This works across different things. Now, one thing I want you to understand, okay? And this is what I'm going to do. So like, let's say I put a thumbs up here, right? This is the thumbs up, right? Now, what I want you to understand is that the AI brain is only becoming bigger and bigger and bigger, okay? So just to simplify this, okay, I'll put this down here. So now imagine this is the AI brain that was right now that you're using in terms of getting the input. Let's say this was the old brain, right? Like, so this one is the old size. Now, the new one is this big. So that means we have more and more and more data that it's consuming and becoming smarter and smarter and smarter. So the point though is it still needs direction. It's similar to like a professor. Like you go to a university or a college, somebody who's a PhD, spent like last 15 years doing research and stuff like that. The right kind of questions you ask the professor, the more likely that you're gonna basically get their answer, right? If you just ask a generic question, you're going to get a generic answer. You get a more detailed question, you're going to get a detailed answer. So this is what prompts are all about, okay? This is what we're going to be focusing on in this training. Now, the way I structured this training is I want to do it live so that they are basically positioned so that you can join in and have any questions that you have answered on these. And also the way I position this is that we're going to be going live in our Facebook group as well. And of course, I'll post the replays for this as well into the Google Docs so that you can actually follow along and stuff like that. Any checklists and things like that will be posted there as well. Now, this is a primer video because I want you to understand how a prompt looks like, how it's structured and all that. Now, I've been able to successfully do it in such a way where I've gotten results that were substantially better than the average copywriter, the average marketer, the average, whoever it might be. And the reason why I've been able to get that kind of a result and that kind of basically, which I'm going to show you in just a second as we go along, is that when you give it the right kind of a prompt, you're going to get the right kind of a result. And the beauty is the more you understand it, the more you're going to be positioned for the future. So, what's happening here? And I'll explain that because you got to understand the fundamentals, right? AI is going to replace a graphic designer, a copywriter, for somebody who's actually doing a lot of agency work out there, like SEO, article writing. They're going to replace a lot of the jobs out there, right? So even programmers, by the way, will be replaced by AI. So what it's going to mean is that you have these models which are basically they can do coding, the AI can do everything you can imagine, right? And so because of that, what you have to understand is that we're going to have this new profession that's going to get formed, okay? It is called the prompt engineer, okay? It's called a prompt engineer. Now, you don't need to be a coder or a programmer or gone to university to study engineering or whatever. The idea is with a prompt engineer, what we're trying to do here is basically we are trying to position you, okay, to be an expert to get this brainless brain right here to actually provide inputs. So in other words, instead of me going in and sit in front of the keyboard and coding, right? I can tell it, this is the problem, right? And I got to explain the problem, and that's what prompts is. And then give me a solution to that problem, right? That is what prompt engineering is. So here's what I want. Here's what I want you to basically solve for me. That is basically what it is. So you got to think of yourself, let's say, for example, as a director of a movie, right? You want to bring all the pieces together. So you want to get a script writer, you want to get a screenplay writer, you want to get all these people together, right? You got to think of yourself like that. When you think of yourself like that, you can become a much better prompt engineer, and then you're going to be positioned to succeed a lot more than anybody else. Similarly, what you have to understand is that with prompt engineering, once you understand the concept and the understanding thing, you can do it for text to image, text to article generation, copywriting. You can do it for anything. So in other words, you could be, for instance, a designer, right? Like you could, just because of without even doing a single design, you can be a designer. You could be, for example, a coder, right? You could be, for example, you can do HTML, CSS, even if you have no clue what that is, right? You could even, for example, be a copywriter now. Okay, you can write copy, and basically now because of how you can instruct it to basically give you the result that you want. The secret though is how you instruct it. Okay, that's what we're going to be talking about step by step. I'm going to give you some ideas, some setups, and I'm going to give you some things that you can copy and paste as well. But if you want to be positioned for the future, understand that the goal of prompt engineering is to give it context. Okay, this word context is the most important thing that you will learn when it comes to prompt engineering. It's like this: if I go to a party, there's 100 people, there's talking, there's a lot of loud music, and then I jump in midway into the conversation and I say, hey, can you explain to me some strategies on how to lose weight? Let's say, for example, there's no context. They're talking about some other topic and you jumped in, and then now you're talking about, by the time people even understand that and get back to you, you're gonna basically not get the right kind of an answer, right? The same thing though, let's change it the other way around. Same party, right? Now you are in there and you're listening in to all the conversations. Now you jump in, and that conversation you give an basically something with contextual to that conversation. Let's say they're talking about what is the best place to travel in the world, right? And what is it the best place to travel when you're in your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, whether you're male or female, whether you're a solo traveler or a family traveler, right? Now you give it a specific context to that discussion, saying, hey, I'm for example, I'm married, I have two kids. What do I do to take my family on a vacation? What are some good spots to go? Now you're going to get the right kind of answer because the people there understand the context and the flow is more natural, right? Similarly, AI works the same way, where you just butt in and you say, just give me 10 lines of text or just give me five things here. It's not going to get you the right kind of results because it's just going to make an educated guess with what it thinks you're asking for, right? What you have to think of it is you're giving instructions to a 10-year-old child and basically explain exactly what you want, but that child is a genius who has all the knowledge of everything, of all the information ever written, and basically in terms of Wikipedia, in terms of articles and all that, maybe it's not going to be super accurate in every answer, but in most cases right? Most cases like coding, in most cases like, for example, for instance, problem solving, right? Like say I have this problem, how do I solve it? Okay, math and some things like that, right? Designing, copywriting. It's going to give you the right kind of answers. Now, it may not be the best historian. It might not be the best, for example, political consultant with opinions. It's about actually getting you the results. So this is what I want you to understand. Remove politics and other things out of the way, and this is going to help you a lot more in getting the right kind of results. Because this is the reason why people have this AI is controversial. It's giving me wrong information. It's giving me this, giving that. It's because they're purposely giving it opinionated questions to ask. Right? If you're going to say which political party is more fair towards X demographic, or which political party is gonna basically help me get less taxes, or something like that, right? It's not gonna be the right kind of, because it's opinionated, right? There's no yes or no answer. But in the case of, hey, my problem is right now I have an issue where, for example, I'm trying to write a copy, like a sales copy or an ad or something like a video sales script for this market. Let's say, for example, the market is ketogenic diet, or let's say weight loss, or let's say even, for example, the market is service sector like dentists, chiropractors, right? Can you help me out in basically catering to this customer base? Let's say the customer base in this case for that chiropractor is athletes, let's say, right? Well, for an athlete who is 30 years old, who is wanting to basically rehabilitate from an injury, can you give me a sales copy for that? It's going to give you a right answer, right? Because it knows, it studied every single marketing copy or campaign out there, and it gets better and better with time, okay? So this is what we're going to be talking about. Now, the first thing we want to actually finalize is, what do we write here in this blank screen? You're going to see the same problem with any kind of an AI content generation platform, right? One of the things is some of them may try to kind of dumb it down, but the thing is, AI is your own canvas, right? You can create anything you want with AI, and you can literally make it really, really powerful. And it also can be done in such a way where you can make command like a genie, right? Like you're commanding genie to give you a bunch of wishes. You can command AI to produce anything you want, as long as you master this little thing called prompts. And I've actually simplified it through automation in our brand new Human Talk technology, which if you didn't get already, it's the time to do so, right? I'll leave the link right below there. It's called humantalk.io/YESYes. So if you haven't already gotten it, get it right now. It's going to solve a lot of issues for you when it comes to succeeding with basically prompts and also generating some things. So let me show you a new feature that we added into the Human Talk technology, the text writer, the AI content generation system, which will allow you to become a master of prompts without having to spend the next 6 months learning it, which is a waste of time, right? Because by 6 months, if you're wasting it, which you could be spending to be a master at it today, using some things that I've done for you to simplify your life completely, right? Which is going to completely destroy ChatGPT or any other so-called AI content generation systems, because behind the scenes, I've trained the AI to simplify things for you. Okay, I'll talk about that right now, step by step, so you can actually have that unfair advantage over your competition. All you have to do is, it's gonna basically, you're gonna have what should I write, which is step number one, right? So let's just say you wanted to write, I want to create a sales copy for my life coaching business. I want to attract business owners who want to eliminate fears and grow their business with my help. Simple, right? And then you click on this advanced prompt mode and click submit, right? And automatically what it's going to do is, it's going to create a prompt, like meaning expand upon it, where the AI can understand and input something even better, right? So that's going to make it infinitely better than what ChatGPT can provide you, or any other AI application in the market today. Now, so in this case, you see this, right? A compelling sales copy that speaks to business owners who want to overcome their fears and take their business to the next level. Now, if I click submit one more time, it's going to keep changing it to how I like it. Okay, you see that beauty here? It's going to keep changing things, and basically where you can now, once it's done, you click next, and what it's going to do is, it's going to generate a sales copy for your life coaching business that is actually persuasive, that's actually going to get people to really get excited and really buy your product or service, book a phone call, basically get in touch with you, right? Check this out. Are you a business owner who's struggling with fear and self-doubt? Are you looking for a way to take your business to the next level? Well, but don't know where to start. Now what you can do is, you can actually go and paste this right now. Just select everything, select all, copy, and then you go to human talk, and you can use any one of our spokespersons, let's say like Jason or whoever it might be, or Jenny or Nancy or 800 different people you can pick. And let's say I want to pick whatever I want. I can go in next, and then I can right click and copy and paste this, and then I say agree to the terms, and then I click next, and now I can create a professional voiceover to be used for podcasting, for even any video creation application you want to paste this into to create, let's say, for example, our own human talk application along with our own human pal application where you can upload an audio and then create a spokesperson video. You can do a lot of cool things with this when you can do this right out of the gate, right? So that means you click next, and then the audio file is being created. I'm just going to say life coaching business ad, right? And then I can click save, and then the project is saved. As you can see, now I can download it, I can edit it further, so I can do whatever I want with it, as you can see right now. Pretty exciting, right? Now, another cool thing you can do, let's go back to the step one. And now if this feature is not active in your account, you may have to log off and log back in, or just clear your cache and try again, refresh this page or do a hard refresh. You're going to see it because it's a new update. And then, so basically you click on this option again. I'm going to show you something else cool you can do here with this application. All right, so I have a blank screen right now. Let's say I want to create a sales email script for my dog training course. So meaning I want to create a dog training course, an ebook or service, whatever it might be. And then I click advanced prompts and click submit. So what it's going to do is it's going to write it in the form that the AI would understand it so that it can actually do a good job. So you can even change things over here, okay? So it says craft a persuasive sales email script for my dog training course that introduces the course, highlights its benefits, encourages readers to